So I'm just going to start with just a little visualization. It's just to give a bit of a taste. So throughout my little talk that I'm going to do, I want you to be starting to be aware of what's happening within you and what's actually going on. So if I could get everyone just to simply close their eyes. And I really just want you to quieten down and just take note of the chatter that's going on in your mind. Which some of the chatter might be, I'm having a little difficulty understanding this Australian accent. It could be, what I'm going to have for lunch. But you'll be starting aware of the chatter becomes quite prominent. You'll start seeing the little conversations that are going on. Next thing I'd like you to do is just quietly in your mind, just keep repeating hello. If you're in Australia, you could say good day, but just keep saying hello quietly. So you notice a couple of things now. You can actually hear yourself saying hello. And when you do that, the mind chatter starts disappearing. The very interesting thing about this is, and I want you to start focusing on this, is who is actually listening to the hello? Who is it that's listening? Who is it that's in your mind at the moment that's listening? Because you can almost visualize it. And what we want to do in meditation is really focus. This is what it means to go within and be within. It's going to that person that is the listener and the observer. So you can open your eyes now, and just throughout the day, I'm going to get you to sort of close your eyes and experience that and see what kind of feelings and what responses that we have throughout our body when we do these things. Today, this is what I'll be going over, a bit of energy in, energy out. The body responses, how our body responds to these things. Working with energization that Shanti, Samaran and had spoken about throughout their talks, and then the mind-breath relationship. So I'm going to not only just quickly touch on those, but just give you an experiential experience with each one of those. I'm very mindful and want to really recognise here that in the medical, we did a bit of a survey before we put this together, and one of the things that became very prominent in the healthcare world is that people are very mindful of their time. It's very common in a healthcare world for everyone to say, I don't have enough time. You know, we talk about this meditation. You know, as soon as you talk about meditation, you think of a monk sitting in a cave hour upon hour in this blissful state. And your first thought as a healthcare professional is, I don't have enough time for that. I don't have this ability. So today, hopefully, I'm going to give you some little tools that are really not that timely. Shanti talked about going to a closet, and there's some little tools here where you can actually do it, you know, before you put that cannula in, or before you do a procedure or something, and they will just relate to a bit of energy and a bit of mindfulness and a bit of watching the breath. So we'll sort of touch on a few of those tools. Cool. So just a little bit about myself. Why am I here? So being a intensive care paramedic, I was actually on the motorcycle unit, which is kind of interesting. So as Shanti and the doctors share about their workload, my workload was a little bit different. I was actually a single responder on a motorcycle in Sydney CBD in the red light district, which means I had no control over my environment whatsoever. So everything that I had to adjust to the environment rather than bring a patient in and let them adjust to how we want to activate and go through. So I'll share a little bit about that as we go. But it's kind of very interesting, like most people that have read Autobiography of a Yogi, it sort of changed my world. I remember as a healthcare professional, you would slowly over time start shutting your heart down. You'd be exposed to so many emotions and people's energy, that one of the ways to cope is essentially just shutting that heart down, and you take away those feelings. And as both Samaran and Shanti had spoken about, the heart is such an important tool. It takes on so much, and it's sort of like the receiving center of everything that's out there. So after taking on yoga, I was able to open that back up and be able to deal with coping mechanisms as they came along, and hopefully be able to share some of these little tools that we can use as we go along. So essentially what I'd like to talk about is this process, and expand on a little bit about where we go from a yogic point of view, and being able to cope with some of the stresses that come in. And I simply put, we have what we call homeostasis. And I think anyone in the medical or healthcare professionals understands that homeostasis is essentially everything in its natural form, everything in its natural position. And so throughout life, we have these balances, we have these little adjustments that we make. So every time something sits out of homeostasis, we need a response. And our body is doing this all the time. And it has this amazing ability to adapt to change. The human body is particularly incredible. You'll see the world from a global perspective can cope with so much for so long. And as you're starting to see at the moment, the minute it becomes unbalanced or unhinged, that's when we start seeing disease and these disease processes. And that can come in the form of cancers, it can come in the form of pain. From a global point of view, it can come in the form of global warming, if you like, bushfires, different extremes of heats. So this is going on all the time. So we're always balancing out. Our body's always adapting. So some of the outgoing things that we do, and this is where the world of a healthcare professional can become imbalanced, is we start putting outward this energy. So energy is going out. And when that becomes unbalanced, we need to then combat that with an extra bit of energy. And that's where these tools come into play. So some of the energy that we're putting out can be in the form of physical. So just the fact that you are on your feet all day long, every day, you're seeing the 6,000 patients a day, you're seeing the workload and increasing. For me, it was riding a motorcycle, a 350 kilogram, I'm not sure what that is in pounds, 350 kilogram motorcycle, running it around. And we would do up to 30 to 40 jobs a day on a motorcycle, running around throughout the city. And that could include anything from delivering a baby to multiple cardiac arrests in one day. So this is always an energy out. On top of that, we have these emotions. So we start playing with emotions. We play with our own emotions of what we see, but we also start playing with the emotions of the family members that are in front of us, or the ongoers, or the people that are around us. We start exuding that emotion. So again, it's another energy out. We start putting energy out in relation to these things. So you can start seeing, with energy out, we need to start combating that. I haven't even put in those energy outs to likes and dislikes. You know, from a medical profession point of view, we always have that patient that we do and don't like, the type of patient that we do and don't like. We have these, Shanti mentioned it quite regularly, we get frustrated, we get tired, we get that patient that we don't really understand. So again, these are likes and dislikes. So there again, we put this homeostasis. We now start putting energy out in relation to those kind of things. In that, we need to combat that. So with that combatants, we have things that we can do. So from a physiological point of view, we can eat food. Food is such a good way of returning energy. So when we look at that, we start having the food that we take in becomes really important. And I'm not going to talk too much about that, because I think Kalamali will talk a little bit about the kind of foods. But we noticed in Samaran's talk that diet was very important. It was one of the first things that go in, because again, our body starts dealing with, I need to balance out this energy that's going out. The other thing that we don't really take for granted, but it's a simple thing, the air that we breathe. So breathing becomes really important, because when we breathe, we get oxygen. When we get oxygen in, we can now convert the oxygen into an energy source. So oxygen, we know that it's one of the primary treatments around poor health is adding a little bit of oxygen. So we know it's really important to the energy side of things. The other really important factor, which was touched on by both previous talkers, is this will and this willpower. We have this untapped ability when we have a willpower to push through a lot of things. And that is a bit of a return. It's starting to use this energy that we can tap in all the time. So we know full well when we get a bit of a determination on that we can really tap into this energy that's coming and going. So that's starting to return it. And the third one is this elusive energy. And I'm going to hopefully in a minute just share with you a bit of an energization exercise so you can just start to feel this energy that we can tap into. Before I do, I'd just like to say, we all have the ability to do it. So whether we're in a medical field or not, I think one of the talks that Swami Kriyananda talks about is in one of the courses, he says, you could be at the end of your day completely spent, laying on the lounge, the dishes full in the sink, and next thing you know, you get a phone call from a friend. And that could be someone that you haven't seen for a while. It could be someone that really special to you, makes your heart glow. All of a sudden you have this energy. This time when you just before couldn't even bother doing the dishes, you now have the ability to get up, get some fancy clothes on, grab your keys, run out the door. You can get this energy. It's just incredible that you can tap into it. So what I'd like to share with you is just a way that we can do it while we're at work. So that time when you're completely spent, you're tired, you're exhausted, or even as you start being, so that's a reactive process, but we can start using it to be a bit proactive. So rather than saying, well, I'll do it when I'm really tired, let's do it when we can preempt when we're going to be tired as well. So this is called an energization. Energization is where we are using the energy that we create. And what I'm going to get you guys to do is just simply with your two hands, I'm going to share what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get you to close your eyes, and in your right hand, I'm going to get you to squeeze at first gently, and then get a little bit harder and a little bit harder and then a little bit harder. And what I want you to feel at the point when you can't do it anymore, I just want you to really focus, close your eyes, focus on that fist, and I want you to keep squeezing. And you actually feel that you can just keep going and going and going to the point where you can actually feel your fist starting to shake. Now I want you to slowly relax it, nice and relaxed, just gently, gently release it out. Now, if you get both of your hands, you've energized one side and not the other, close your eyes and feel the energy in that hand that you just put energy towards. There's a vast difference. One feels heavy, the next one feels light and buzzing. It even has a little sense of warmth around it. So this is just tapping into this beautiful piece of energy that we were talking about and learning to control that. And one of the tools that we can use is we can use that to our whole body. Now, I've just shared that with just one hand. We have this process where we use a little bit of a breath. We tense our whole body in the same manner. We start light, we get a bit harder, and then to the point where we're completely shaking all over. And then we reverse that process out. So I'm just going to get you guys to do that with your whole body. With it, we'll bring in a bit of a breath. So when we start to tense up, we take a nice double breath in, and then we tense our whole body, and then we throw that breath out. We're throwing the breath out to allow all our energy to start relaxing. So we're going to just quickly do that. I'll show you once, and then we'll do it a couple of times just so you can experience. So we're just going to do this. We're going to tense our whole body, double breath in, tense that whole body, and then throw the breath out, and then we slowly breathe back out. So we're just going to do that twice together. Here we go, double breath in, tense that whole body, feel the body shake, feel the energy exude throughout our body, double breath out. Just going to do that one more time. Double breath in, shake that whole body, feel that energy, double breath out. So just take some time now just start feeling that energy flow throughout your body. And now this is a simple exercise that takes a couple of seconds to do. And it's something that we can do all day. Anyone that's busy, it's kind of something you can do it in the waiting room, you can do it in a lunch break, you can do it just before you're doing a procedure. It's something that can boost that little bit of energy within. So that's one of the nice little tools that we have. So the second thing that I thought we would touch on is this relationship between this energy in and energy out that we're speaking about. So what happens with this imbalance? So we've now got this ability to return energy back in, but with this balance, what actually happens and what are some of the signs? We're medical professionals, or healthcare professionals, what are some of the signs and symptoms that we would see within ourselves that this balances out? So what I'd like to do is share another little bit of a visualization. I want you to just experience a little bit of what one part of my job was on a motorcycle paramedic. I'm going to get you to close your eyes. I'm going to give you a bit of a journey to one kind of job and the decision processes that I would do in a different way. And throughout it, I just want you to start, as I talk, start feeling what's happening within your body. So I want you to start noticing your heart rate. I want you to start noticing your breathing as we do that. So if you close your eyes, I'm sitting in the middle of the CBD on a, I think someone posted a 700 something pound motorbike. Not sure what that is. I'm on the motorbike. I get a call over the radio. Cycle 2, you are going to a 4-year-old female, cardiac arrest, query choking. I get given an address. So a couple of things go through my mind. I'm a clinical. So I'm sitting on this motorbike. I've got no one else around me. I'm starting to think 4-year-old. Okay, yep, 4-year-old. So how much does a 4-year-old weigh? So I've got to work out, do my calculations for body weight. I've then got to look about, okay, well, what kind of, if they're not breathing, what kind of intubation tool am I going to use? What kind of cannulas or intraosseous equipment will I be using? What is my drug regime? So I've got to start looking at, I think we use adrenaline, you guys use epinephrine. What is the drug calculation? 0.01 micron per kilo of 1 in 1,000 adrenaline. So all these figures are going through my head. This is before I've even started. I'm still sitting on this motorbike, and then something else pops into my head. You know what? I can sit here all my life, but I'm not much help. I need to actually get there. So where is this address? Where am I now, and how am I going to get there? So I'm now thrown into my mind, I have to get to this address. So I've got to quickly look up the address. I've now, on top of that, I've got to start going, I've got to respond. I've got to start thinking about, well, when I get there, what am I going to do? Who do I need? I can't transport. What kind of resources will I need? What kind of hospital will they be going to? Is it Children's Network? Is that the best area? Is the quickest response from where I am getting aeromedical retrieval? So these are all going through my head, and I'm in my first couple of seconds of this job. I've now looking at the role. I get on the bike, I know where I'm going to go. So now I've got to completely switch off, because now my life's in hands and so is everyone else's. I've got to take that information and completely void it, because my sole job now is fighting Sydney traffic and working out the best possible route. So I've got to miss public buses, taxis, pedestrians. Pedestrians are now a big hit because everyone's on the phone or wearing noise cancelling earphones, but my sole attention now is getting to that job. So I fight traffic. I take about 4 to 5 minutes to get there. Next thing you know, I get off. I've now got to completely switch off. So you can imagine by the time I get off that bike, what's going on. I want you to just take a couple of seconds to now start thinking what's happening to your heart rate. I've now got a 4-year-old who is unresponsive, about to go in front of me, and I've got to confirm everything that I've just justified and done in my drug regime and the things that are going on. So I'm now met with people who are coming out completely. It was in a childcare centre. I've got emotions from frantic parents, frantic carers, bringing in what's going on. So you can start seeing now what's happening, and then I'm presented with that case. So I'm just going to get you to open your eyes, and I'll tell you that the job actually turned out quite well. They'd actually swallowed a stone down their throat. This is one job. You can just go from this job to another job to another job. And you can imagine just feeling the heart rate, your blood pressure, and everything sort of completely go up. And these are these innate responses that Samran was talking about in the brain. So in the brain, you have this central system that kind of takes over everything. It has these innate responses. And that is essentially, we want blood in vital organs. When we do that, we shunt blood to central areas. Our blood pressure goes up, our heart rate goes up to compensate for higher blood pressure. On the counteract to that, our respiratory rate goes up. Other factors that come into play are our kidneys. Our kidneys start playing now because our blood pressure's gone up. It's one of the controlling factors. So we want to start getting out of what's happening. So we start fluid output. I was actually just talking to, before we started, about it. When you're nervous, the first thing you want to do is actually go to the toilet. You want to do a pee because your blood pressure goes up. Most people will agree. Your blood pressure goes up. Your first control is to be urine out or do urine out. So all these factors that we spoke about before that Samran had put up, these are all innate responses. But as we know, meditation and breath control can actually reverse that control. It can move it from these central primal functions and move it to the prefrontal area of the brain and start producing creativity. It starts producing all these amazing, slowing the mind down, being able to think more clearly, have even a sense of joy. So even a sense of joy within that horrible scene that you possibly just heard about, we have the ability to do that and control with a little bit of mindfulness and a bit of meditation practice throughout these kind of things. And one of the prime things that you'll actually start seeing is this relationship between breath and the busy mind and this active mind and control over the body. And so when we look at it, it's a really important tool to be able to control and slow that breathing down. And I'm going to just quickly go through a tool that will show you how to balance that out. And the tool that we're going to use does an amazing thing. It gets rid of and balances out the pH in the body. So when we're breathing quickly, one of the things that happens is it changes our pH balance. We get quite acidotic. We build up this acidity. And our body has some natural things that we can do. We can take some deep breaths, these kind of things. But if we can control that throughout this process and learn to control our breathing, our body becomes more used to being less acidic, and we can actually start using these processes. So I'm going to give you a little technique called an even count breathing, and it balances all this out. So this even count breathing gets you to slow yourself down, and it doesn't take long at all. You can do this within 5 seconds. Literally what I'm going to show you, you can do it as you're walking along. You can start doing it, even count breathing. You can do it when you're driving a car. So these little tools, these yogic tools, we can start putting into practice without thinking that we're going to be tied down by this big experience. So what we're going to do now is it's called an even count breathing, and it's simply breathing in and doing a wonderful nice full yogic breath that we learned from Paul. Maybe not the full yogic breath, but just a nice big bellow breath that we breathe in through our nose and relax our belly. We're going to do it for an even count. Now I'm just going to count 6. If you guys feel uncomfortable with that, then by all means either do less or do more. So it's an even count in of 6. Then we're going to hold our breath for 6. And then we're going to let our breath out for 6. So I'm just going to get you guys to do this. While we do this, we're going to close our eyes. We're going to put that focus where everyone said before at this point between our eyes. And the purpose for that is, with all this amazing science that we've just learned about, is we're going to direct energy from these primal functions lower down, and we want to put our energy all the way forward. We want to create neurological pathways that get a blood flow and a pathway to the front of our mind. So if we can do that every time that we practice one of these, it's another step towards this meditation process. So I'm going to get everyone to close their eyes. I'm going to try and get everyone to sit up nice and straight. Close the eyes and focus right at that point between the eyebrows, and really use a lot of that energy that we've got and focus at that point between the eyes. Because again, that's where we want all our energy to go. So I'm going to count for you guys. I'm just going to take a nice deep breath in for 6. And in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. And out. 2. And one more. And hold. And out. Let's just do one more. In. And hold. And out. It's going to get you to, with your eyes closed, just feel that difference in your body and the relaxation. You can start noticing the energy around you. It's just a beautiful way. You can open your eyes now. It's just a beautiful way to slow yourself down. And we all know that when we can catch ourselves before we get this anxiety build up, we get this workload cloud and fog that's over the top of us, it's just a beautiful tool to be able to help us along the way.